far there. Yeah. Clear Cut was always in the center, you know. Mm-hmm. One side was Gold Hill, the other side was Contractor Hill. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is this where you worked as a water boy? Well, I didn't exactly work as a water boy. I worked as a man. I was 19 years old when I went down in that cut.
When was the last time you were here?
Last time I came, I was around was in 1913. That was the last time I was around, 1913. Because I saw the first little tryout boat put in the Clearwood Cut here, come through the Clearwood Cut in 1913. And then the place was opened officially in 1914 for traffic.
Was this all jungle at one time?
Well, yes, it was to a certain extent, both sides. Both on Gold Hill and this other side was jungle. Mm-hmm.
From the time of Columbus, man searched for a passage across the Americas which would shorten travel from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. For centuries, commercial and military ships of the most powerful nations had been forced to sail around South America. These were long and costly voyages. The Isthmus of Panama, the narrowest point of land in Central America, was the most logical site for a man-made waterway. Here, man set out in the late 19th century to build the Panama Canal. Clearing the many miles of jungle, building Gatun locks at the Atlantic end, creating Gatun Lake, one of the world's largest man-made lakes. Digging and blasting 9 miles across the mountainous Culebra Cut. Constructing 2 sets of locks at the Pacific end, Pedro Miguel and Miraflores. All this was undertaken to make the Panama Canal an engineering wonder of the modern world. It was the completion of the Panama Railroad in 1855 that made the idea of a canal irresistible. During the 5 years of construction, 5,000 black Jamaicans were among the various nationalities used as laborers. The Panama Railroad was built at great human cost, and the pestilence of the jungle still prevailed in 1879 when Ferdinand de Lesseps, builder of the Suez Canal, was authorized by the government of Colombia to dig a canal across its province of Panama. On February 1st, 1881, de Lesseps French Company began construction. The French were paying their laborers $1 to $2 a day for 10 hours' work. By 1884, recruitment in the West Indies brought more than 20,000 black laborers to Panama, the majority coming from Jamaica.
My name is Egbert Cleveland Leslie. I was born in the island of Dominica, British West Indies now. Well, it happened that my uncle, Francis Leslie, who'd been away before I was born, because when he came home again, he was 27 years here. He could tell me all about the French failure in the construction of the canal and everything.
On February 4th, 1889, as a result of financial mismanagement and their inability to defeat the devastating malaria and yellow fever, the French company folded. Not long after, the economy of the region collapsed into a depression. By the end of the French period, 25,000 laborers had died, and more than 6,000 West Indian workers and their families were left stranded in Panama. The United States had watched and learned from the French attempt at Panama. Determined to win the prize that a canal would bring, leadership of world commerce and military supremacy, the administration of President Theodore Roosevelt was prepared to let no obstacle stand in the way. Negotiations with Colombia for the right to build a canal across Panama resulted in failure. However, this problem was solved in 1903 when Panama, with American encouragement, seceded from Colombia. In 1904, Panama and the United States signed a treaty granting the United States the right to build and own a canal in perpetuity. The treaty also created the Canal Zone, a stretch of land extending 5 miles on either side of the proposed canal and 50 miles long. With this territory now under American control, President Roosevelt declared, "I took the isthmus." In September 1904, the United States began its monumental effort to build the canal. Less than 3,000 black laborers were used that first year.
My name is Eustace Boyd. I was born on the 26th of July, 1890. The Panama Canal was about to start, and they came over and were getting some contract people, to go over there to make preparation for the people that was coming down from the States. And my uncle was a carpenter, and we had to go around and get houses, to meet these people that was coming down, the Americans that was coming from the States to start work. And we used to go around and look for all these old French houses, The French left these houses there, They were all up in the bushes. So they had to go and clean out the place and repair them up and make them habitable.
John Stevens, appointed chief engineer in 1905, felt that the Chinese and Spanish were better workers. Other officials wanted European laborers. But West Indians would remain the bulk of canal employees, and their work and dedication would later force a change in Stevens' view. In its search for workers, the United States established a recruiting center in the Caribbean.
They didn't contract any from Jamaica. The governor there wouldn't permit it because he wasn't satisfied with the conditions. So they turned over to Barbados.
The majority of contracted laborers sailed from Barbados. Blacks of all classes and skills joined the thousands of unskilled and unemployed in looking to Panama for relief from the economic distress plaguing all of the island.
No, I wanted to get out. You know the reason why? It was things in Barbados. They wasn't paying you nothing. And even 10 cents an hour to come to Panama was better than to stay in Barbados. There had men in those days working, some of them working for a shilling a day, what you would call it 24 cents.
Then the cane season, that was a fine profit-bearing enterprise in Barbados, sugar cane work, was then at a standstill. The sugar cane was no more canes to cut, and everybody was idling.
Hiring was done in Bridgetown, the capital of Barbados. The American agent used runners and newspaper notices to spread the news. And very quickly, the small city was overflowing with eager canal job seekers.
Where I had some friends And they all was getting ready to go, and they wanted me to go, and I joined them. And my parents consented that I go to the canal. And I left from St. Lucie, went to Bridgetown to the transportation office, and I signed up there for a trip to the canal. Took my name down, took my age.
The doctor was examining us 10 in a row, you know. And he said he wouldn't send no one to Panama under 20. Need to say you have to be from 20 up. So I was the smallest guy in the bunch, the youngest fella, of the 10 that was examining. So when he come to this fella, he said, how old are you, boy? 20. How old are you, boy? 20. Every one of the 9 was 20. But then you come to me now, I'm the youngest in the group, you know. Remember, the doctor said, I'm not sending you to Panama under 20, but you can be over, you could be 40, 50. All right? I don't know if the other fellows understood, and they were all big young men over me. So when you come to me now, he said, and how old are you, boy? Since everybody said it was 28, I was only 19, and I got to put on a couple more years. How old are you, boy? I said, well, I'm 23, doctor. Doctor says, no, boy. You're not 23 years old, but you'd like to go to Panama, wouldn't you? I said, yes, doc. He said, I'll send you. He said, but you 9 guys, go back home and maybe get as old as this boy or we'll send you out. Boy, I had to get out the city fast. The sight prevent the doctor from sending me, and they were going to break my this, that, and the other. I had to hurry up and get out the town. Yeah.
Each man hired signed a contract for a period of work lasting 500 days.
And when that contract is up, the government agreed to send them back to wherever they come from.
Each day of departure seemed a time of mass celebration as hundreds of kinfolks and friends gathered to see the men off.
The ship left on a Tuesday morning, the Europa. It was crowded, I tell you, from bow to stern. We had over 700-800 men. You had a piece of canvas and you lay there and glad to have you a piece of canvas. That was your bed for the trip into Colon. There was nothing special provided for nobody. Life was rough. You had to eat what you get, and no question about it. Many people died on that ship, on that passage from Barbados to Colon. But during your passage on the ship, those men who had provisions made of some kind for eating and the rest of it, they shared it with everybody. Everybody came by and had a bit of it. The ship made no special provisions for you. And that's the way we lived until we got to Colon.
None of the men really knew what to expect as the ship headed into Colon. But there was no fear, only an acceptance of this new challenge and the determination to make good.
Arriving at the port of Panama, which is Colon, 6 days later, consigned to the East New Canal Commission as a laborer, awaited there after the embarkation from the ship to point a destination. I had no recognition of what was going to happen. I couldn't conceive. I hadn't yet seen the canal. I hadn't yet seen no part of the operation until after I reached employment. Then I begun to realize what a stupendous affair this would be.
I landed here
on the 21st of January, 1907. On the appearance of the place, I felt like I would go right back home because everything looked so strange and, different to being brought up home or so. I felt like I'd go back home, but it wasn't so easy to do that then anyhow, so I continued with my uncle, and the next day, my uncle who'd been here, he asked his boss for a job for me. Remember, that's in 1907, January.
There was no shelter from the sun or the rain. See? There were no trees then. When I got there was no trees. It was just a bare place. When the sun shines, you get it. When the rain falls, you get it. When the wind blows, you get it.
What would you say was the hardest part of the canal building?
Well, I would have said the cut. People working in there because you had to work night and day. Sometimes you go to work in the morning, 7 o'clock, and you don't get back home before 8 or 9. I worked in the canal, in a gang called the railroad gang, move track and so forth. Mosquitoes? Oh, I can't describe them. I hear woo, and he's into you. The mosquito would bore a hole in you. I have had lots of marks in my skin from the malaria through the camp that I was in.
In 1907, President Theodore Roosevelt, convinced that the canal operations would succeed only under the precision and discipline of the military, asked George Goethel, an Army officer, to become chief engineer.
He was Colonel Goethel at the time. And Colonel Goethel asked the president, I will accept that job on condition that you give me a free hand with the labor conditions there. Consented.
The building of the canal was now under the direct control of the United States Army Engineers, and the work would reflect the attack of a vast army. Goethel was determined to make the dirt fly as Roosevelt had demanded.
They use dynamite to dig all this, is that
Oh, the dynamite, yes, to dig up the canal. Dig up the dirt in the canal. To get the depth. A lot of men working on the track and men working otherwise with the dynamite, loading holes, men drilling holes with tripod drill and other drills and loading holes and all like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So many of the diggers, like Benjamin Jordan, were teenagers when they began work on the canal. It was going to be a new adventure.
They brought me here, and they put me down in the cut, and threw a pick and shovel in my hand, and I never did see a pick and shovel before. And I started to cry. I had a little Jamaican boss, the short fellow, about 5 feet tall. He was the boss, and Then he seen me cry. He pulled the pick and shovel out my hand and threw it one side. And it was a kerosene tin, a 5-gallon tin with some there around. And he took it and cut off the top off of it. And he gave me this 5-gallon tin and said, you go over yonder and you'll see a pipe. You fill it full of water and bring it here and put it down. And take this cup, and anytime you hear a man say 1 cup, you dip a cup of water and try and give it. That was the fellow that working on the track, then clearing the track and stuff like that.
I was making 8 cents an hour as a water boy. 8 cents. And we used to work 10 hours a day. And that made me 80 cents a day. But after a while, you know, they gave me another gang to serve. So I was making double.
Everybody thought that by digging, they'll find something. Since gold was found in Gold Hill, some may be wrong here too. So that was the zeal that we worked off.
But talking about the canal now, yes, you had hard work in Calabro. The steam shovels, the drills, the dynamite shop, yes. Men lost their lives there, plenty in Calabro.
Culebra Cup was consuming 6 million pounds of dynamite a year. From unpacking to insertion into the drilled holes of the mountain, the explosives were handled by black laborers. For Arnold Small, to advance from water boy to handler of dynamite meant becoming a man.
And so I worked 1 week as a water boy, and then it started that the man, water boy was 7 cents an hour, and the man was 10 cents. And they wanted 50 boxes, and they had 49 men. And the man looked at me and said, are you big enough to bring a box of powder? We can bring a box of powder, we change it to man.
The men then had to carry the dynamite to those places where other diggers were drilling the firing holes.
They have to drill these holes, you know, in the rock. And after they get down to a certain depth, they fill it with dynamite. See? And then they connect them together from hole to hole, hole to hole. Then they have a huge box where they go and connect those wires there, just to make a spark, set them off. Then, when they are ready, they give you warning so that you go and take shelter.
While that shell is blowing, 2 minutes, start the explosion. 3, 4, 5 places start to blast. And you see the big rocks going up in the air. You see rocks going up in the air. What happens sometimes, somebody make a mistake and touch the wire. And that guy is gone up too.
Of the many accidents that did occur, the worst was Bas Obispo in December 1908.
I was down in Gorgona, but it was such a loud thing that you could hear it all the way around.
It happened a Sunday morning when the pay car was there paying men. Pay car and all was in the explosion. And not 2 men, a couple of hundred men in that's this explosion, a couple of hundred men. that you see bits of man here and the head yonder and all those picking it up for days. Boy, that wasn't an easy day, I tell you. Sunday morning. Yeah.
Now that I am old, and sometimes I sit down there and these things recollection, you know, and what I went through on the Panama Canal, and I'm still alive. I raise my hands to God. I said, thank God, thank Him, because I could have been dead several times.
Around here,